So, what do you have there? You hear in the background, Let's Go, Brandon. And I noticed another thing, just real quick, something that we're starting to notice a lot more of. Do you notice their faces? You can see their nose, their face, their mouth, and they're screaming, they're smiling, and they're having a great time without masks on. That's what it's all about. That's the way we're supposed to live. And of course, the enemy hates seeing this type of stuff and probably hates seeing this also. Yep, so that's that famous, chant. I'm sure that they were trying to go after that. The liberals can't stand that when you're supporting something that they say, oh, it's such bad doing stuff for the Indians, whatever. But then you can see on the left side is Mr. and Mrs. Trump, Donald Trump and Melania. They happen to be at that particular game. And it reminds me of, I used to be a big Braves fan for many years. I haven't watched baseball for a long time. But anyway, I remember back in the 90s when I gave up on them because they kept going to playoffs and losing, and they finally made it to the World Series when a rookie came up, who was a shortstop, I believe, hit a base hit with this slow-running guy who was a first baseman. He was on second base with an injured leg. Somehow he turned third and ran all the way home and slid in, and he was safe, and everybody was screaming, and I ran downstairs to find out that I missed it. Anyway, so here's another thing that I missed. It was an interview done on the Ari Hoffman show. Check out what was said.
Forward to 2024, I know there's a question you always get asked, and I know that you can't answer it because of campaign finance laws and such, so I'm going to phrase it a little differently, which is, in 2024, is there anybody in the Republican Party you think would make a good running mate if you decide to run again, or a Republican candidate you think that would have your support if you decided not to run again?
Both answers, I think, yes. Yeah, I think that I have some fantastic people that would do it and like to do it and would be good. And, I'm going to make a decision. But I have to tell you, maybe I'm not going to have to worry about the second question so much because I think you're going to be happy. We're going to see. We're going to see. But I think you'd be happy. It's amazing how time flies. Here we are already in the first cycle. The first year is almost up. When it started at 4 years, I said, we have to wait 4 years. And you talk about all the things that took place in this election, how horrible it was. And so you said, maybe we cut it down. But think of it, already a year is up, almost. And time flies, Ari. Time flies. I think you'll be very happy. I know you well. I know about you.
Thinking it's pretty nice. Masonic World, 1925. A large fire in 2001 required that it be closed down. St. John the Divine did not reopen until 2008 and is still not complete. And so you can see this. It had a fire in 2001, just like the Twin Towers on 9/11/2001. Is that coincidence? Then it reopened in 2008 for the stock market crash. So they show you different parts of the structures. You can see this in the video. That religion they call Christianity. This is from Aleister Crowley, The World's Tragedy, written. Okay, this is the guy that worships Satan. He says, that religion they call Christianity, the devil they honor, they call God. It is their God and their religion that I hate and will destroy. There's a picture of it. You can see that, I believe that's what they use in the center there for the Star of David, right? Notice the Zionist star in the center of the Kabbalah tree. It is not the Star of David. So they go on further explaining all of this. The four horsemen of the apocalypse. You can see that. More imagery, more imagery. Under the feet of these corrupt leaders, we have the pillars. This pillar is the destruction of Washington, D.C. See that? There's D.C., there's all these people, and you can see basically spirits coming out of D.C. and people basically looking up in the sky at the destruction that'll hit it. And there's a close-up of that. Another pillar of destruction is New York City. These pillars were completed in 1997. Look at that. 1997, folks, this was completed. And you can see water overtaking New York City and all the buildings falling apart with that water knocking it over. There's more on the column, folks. Why would they put that? You still think the Muslims did the 9/11? And then it asks a lot of questions. And then it even has the four horses of the apocalypse on one of the columns. Information on these pillars are solely the right of the occult. Who runs the occult? The secret societies. And it goes on and tries to explain how that might be, in their opinion, when they put this together. So it kind of reminds you of the movie that they put out, right, The Day After Tomorrow, 2004, right? They've already shown this in movies. They put it together, and you've got this giant tsunami wave that comes across New York. And then they also put it in a movie in 1933 called, let's go back here. It's called The Deluge, Destruction of New York. And basically they put together this almost similar to The Day After Tomorrow using their, small movie sets. And then they even show I Pet Goat, which is demonic in nature, so I don't even want to show you that. So going a step further, The Simpsons, right? They always have predictive things. They seem to predict everything correctly. They actually predicted something strange about La Palma. So let me show you this as they play it through. Bart says something. Let's see. It goes just like this about the Canary. So fly to the Canary Islands. It flies back in. It spins the Earth with the shape that they have it there. And so the Simpsons, look at this. Now they're predicting a mega tsunami. How? Question mark. Look closely at the way La Palma is drawn. So you can see La Palma. That's the island off of Africa's coast with the Canary Islands, right? And you look at it, you zoom in, and look at that. Western flank of La Palma is missing. The exact flank that they use in other places to show us that they're planning something kind of strange. Right? I mean, why would they even put this out for us to even see? So we'll go to 312 again. Look at this. New World Order, global warming. Now we're going to show you La Palma. That's what it looks like. From Secret Files 2, Puritas Cordis 222, first released in 2000. So there we are. And interesting, right, how that's put together. Another conspiracy. Released in 2008. Basically spelling out exactly how they would play this out. Now remember this part of the video right here where it says we would blast things. And notice that these stars are apart from each other evenly as they're blowing up La Palma or the volcano to make this thing happen that they have in their little cartoon. So that takes us to the next part. Another video I put in the description box below where a guy said he was going crazy because he found something that he thought was interesting for all to see. So I'm going to go to the 13th minute of this video, and I'll show you his excitement and why he got excited about what he found.
Let me adjust the map one more time here. Okay, now you're starting to see the grid pattern show up. If you keep zooming in...
That grid pattern, by the way, he said, is the grid pattern when you go on this website and you zoom into that grid pattern. You will notice that this is where the plot is for each earthquake that happens on La Palma. Notice each earthquake where it's located.
There you have it, folks. I don't know what other kind of evidence that you need that this island, these earthquakes are being manipulated. They want this to happen. They are creating probably will be the world's worst natural...
I appreciate you so much. You've been one of the great, just a very, very important voice. You are a very respected and...
So you heard it right there. He tried to bring a question in to twist it and see if he can get a different type of answer. But a lot of folks want to hear this. Others are very upset because he continues to go in interviews like with Fox here recently with Judge Jeanine, and it's ticking off a lot of people. I know it, even though there's a lot of reasons that he's done it, and a lot of people believe it. Some others don't, but I tell you where a lot of folks are pretty upset is the fact that now it's being mandated and, well, not mandated. And so as we're talking about that leader, then we switched to what Sky News had to say about the current guy who's sitting supposedly in the office.
Welcome back to the Friday Showdown, and let's dive into this week's edition of What in God's Name is Joe Biden trying to say?
Know the little expression, time is money. As one computer said, if you're on the train and they say Portal Bridge, you know you better make other plans.
Let's go over what he just said there. Let's just not ignore that. Let's go over it. As one computer said, if you're on the train and they say Portal Bridge, you know you better make other plans. I've got nothing. Okay, let's leave that to one side and see what else the president said this week.
In fact, we're taking a page from Terry's book when he was governor and when he'd be governor next pre-K for 3- and 4-year-olds, millions of pre-K students.
This man needs a retirement home and a warm bowl of soup, not access to the nuclear codes. When he's not making a fool of himself misreading auto cues, Biden is making utterly incomprehensible decisions that further weaken the US. Today we learned that the Biden administration is planning to offer around $450,000 a person in compensation to illegal immigrants separated after crossing the border illegally. The US Department of Justice, Homeland Security and Health and Human Services are considering payments that could amount to around $1 million a family, though the final number could shift, the people familiar with the matter told the Wall Street Journal. Of course, the Biden administration has completely lost control of the southern border, with more than 200,000 illegal immigrants encountered crossing a month. And that's the ones encountered. So what's the president's response to this catastrophe?
And he is the father of lies. You belong to your father, the devil. Let's see, that would probably be biblical from Jesus' mouth. Continue on, Virginia, get out and vote.
We've been told by the same career politicians that more government control is the answer. But this election isn't about them, it's about us. It's about law enforcement that needs our support to keep Virginia safe, parents who want a better education for our kids, and Virginians who deserve lower taxes. Together, we can build a better future that works for us. This is our moment. On November 2nd, a new day begins in Virginia.
Yep. So they bring up these guys, they're showing that everybody seems to be the same. A bunch of clones there, just walking down the street, doing a good acting there. It's basically, we're kind of seeing the truth there, right? With Biden, just a puppet. If you guys haven't heard or seen, they've been putting it all over the news. La Palma's neighboring island of La Gomera proposes to drop bombs to divert the volcano's lava flows. Did you hear that? They're talking about dropping bombs on this guy. Yeah. The president of La Gomera's municipal council has suggested this drastic solution in an interview with Canary Island media outlet Radio Faken. So this volcano seems to be erupting. I'm going to tell you why this is interesting, because they've been telling us, they being the evil ones, using their media, their video games, and more to pre-program our minds to be ready for something from La Palma, if they pull it off. So what was the breaking news? A 5.2 magnitude earthquake strikes La Palma. Seismic activity on the Spanish island increases in strength. The moment a quake was captured on the locals' network's live stream. And so they're showing this, La Palma, and they're telling you that there's earthquakes happening on this thing while it's erupting. Why is this important? Well, a great job was done by Shaking My Head Productions. So I'm just going to take a few clips from what he did and some other stuff, research that I did on my own to pull it together. What I found was interesting was there's a Bible verse in Revelation 8 that correlates with all this, and I'll show you in a second when we get there. But first we're going to go to the 3rd minute and 12 second. I put this in the description box below, and we're going to play this for you right now, which was the press conference of Psaki. While she's given the press conference, a journalist asks a question, and the video cuts away to La Palma volcano.
Emergency, the military help.
Now, she said that, and it says, declare a national emergency right before cutting to La Palma. It was on this La Palma video for 2 minutes. Could that be a 2-minute warning, is what somebody was asking. And then he went on and he shared some other things, and I'll just cut away. But there's actually shows on television where they actually discuss that if La Palma falls into the ocean, it can cause a tsunami across the entire Earth. And I'll show you that in a second. But even a video game describes this in detail, how the enemy would pull something like this off, and then that tsunami would reach the entire east coast of the United States. Then he plays some movie clips and shows you basically how that would fall apart. Well, then I'll go to the 12:02 mark right about here and hit play.
I don't need to be a Jew to be a Zionist, for I am.
So I'm going to read this to you for those that listen. St. John the Divine Cathedral, New York City. Note, it's not Christian, but anti-Christian. published in Masonic World. See, now you understand why I brought up the Masons. March 1925, it states that St. John the Divine is the world's largest Masonic cathedral, Gothic style. And so there's a picture, Masonic World. There's the book. It's real small on your screen, but you can see that. Continuing on, the design was completed in 1888 and construction began in 1892. The structure has delayed its completion. They have the all-seeing eye. The St. John the Divine is incomplete, just like the pyramid's capstone on the back of the $1 bill. It's incomplete. Okay, so then there's some pictures that they show from the past, where they're actually from the early 1900s when they're putting this bad boy together. So in Masonic World, they go on to explain that its new cathedral incorporates the very best aspects of Masonry. The public is too ignorant to recognize the meanings behind their imagery, so they just stare at them.
Natural disaster that we have seen that could possibly wipe out 100 million people that live along the eastern seaboard, the northern part of South America, all the Caribbean islands, Florida, the Gulf of Mexico. These earthquakes are not natural, folks. There's no way in Hades that these earthquakes are natural. They're in a complete grid pattern, and if you zoom in one more time, well, that's it. It won't zoom in anymore. But let me back it out a little bit. Does that look natural to you? The New World Order, they have to take the United States out. We have to be taken out somehow, folks. They have to weaken the United States so they can call in the United Nations. You see how they're planning this. If this event happened, then Joe Biden, he could declare martial law, especially on the East Coast. This would cause a financial collapse of the total world if New York City was taken out, Wall Street, New Jersey, Washington, D.C., all of Florida. This would cause a complete financial collapse so they could institute their New World Order out of chaos. The Illuminati, they have to create chaos on the world before they can restore order, folks. You need to share this video out to everyone that you can share out.
So, obviously, he's freaking out because of what he's finding, and he's showing, basically trying to show evidence that it seems like each earthquake is plotted perfectly. They're blowing this place up, directly across from each other. So that reminds me, remember when I said go back and look at this? When you go and look at the actual video that they have, what do? You can go right there, and it looks like they have them plotted. They said, we'll blow it up, and we'll make sure that it falls in the ocean and causes this giant tsunami. Ninja Garden took a picture of it and went and looked at it himself and said, I'm getting the same thing. So he verified it. Appreciate that. And also something that was found was, I see the same thing when I check it. Interesting that each quake shows a depth of 10 to 14 kilometers. Another thing that's interesting was they started their research. BBC, on these, how deep was the seismic activity, right? But also, when did they start measuring this? 9/11, September 11th. Interesting date to start having earthquakes happen on an island called La Palma. So
let's have a listen again.
Know the little expression, time is money. As one computer said, if you're on the train and they say Portal Bridge, you know you better make other plans.
It's so good we had to watch it again. I'm sorry, Nick. Try to defend that craziness. The man is in need of a lie down. No business being in the White House.
He has no business being in the White House. They know he's a joke. They know he's an actor. Probably he's got this mask on. We've seen his, one moment his ear is attached on the right side, and other times you see him and it's not attached. It's like, what mask do they have on this guy? Who's actually sitting there? Why would they even bring this idiot down here to support the guys in Virginia? Anyway, continuing with the idiocracy, the G20 summit played out right. You guys probably don't care, but, who pays attention to this stuff anyway? Leaders of the top 20 economies met at the Rome Convention Center, La Nuvola, in the city's EUR district. The media center is located in the Congress Arena. And who's on the far left? Well, let's see if we can zoom in and bring that across. You see all these guys? Normally you have like Folks like Trump was there, he's up in the center front. Nope, keep going across, and boom, he's doing some social distancing far away from the other leaders. Yeah, way to go. That shows a lot of confidence. This also shows confidence. Somebody put together a nice meme.
In presidential town hall, faced with plummeting approval ratings, tonight President Biden takes questions from you, the people.
Look, folks, here's the deal. We're going to build
a terrible problem. What are you doing about it?
Here's the deal. We're going to build back better. Look, folks, it's not in a wildfire, and I'm concerned about inflation. Look, it's no joke. Here's the deal, folks. We're going to build back better.
Yep, so the folks are putting these together, even doing some puppet stuff, which is very difficult. I used to do puppets for youth groups back in the day. It's not easy to do, but they pulled this one off, did a great job. And then they went out in the street to ask folks, what do you think about this guy?
If Joe Biden were to dress up for Halloween, what would you like to see him dress up as?
Clown.
A clown? Why do you say that?
That's what he reminds me of.
Fair enough. And why does he remind you of a clown specifically?
Man, have you ever heard the man speak? Give an interview? He don't make any sense. Kind of like a clown.
Fear tactics for October 31st, which is, anyway, let's go, Brandon Sleepy Joe. How about this one?
For the first time in history, you can post "he's an idiot," and 90% of the world will know exactly who you're talking about.
That sounded like a Georgia accent to me. I could be off. Even sounds a little more like South Georgia. And everybody knows what "Let's Go Brandon" means. It's been playing out. So more idiots are out there. This guy right here trying to win in Virginia.
I've known Hillary and her husband Bill for more than half of my life.
Hi, friend. Terry McAuliffe.
I love this woman.
I love Hillary Clinton.
I still remember her playing mermaid in the pool.
Oh, I talk about the times on vacation with her.
I have seen her in action.
Yep, so that's a Youngkin for governor ad, and you guys probably don't like the words I'm using, so let's see. I'll use biblical terms. He's a snake. You are a liar. Your father is the devil.